Voters will be making some important decisions when they go to the polls on Tuesday. Things like rent control measures and the future of policing are on the ballot. We have a great election resource guide on our website. You can learn more about the school board or mayoral races in your area and the other questions on your ballot. Just head to WCCO.com/election. You'll be able to watch the results as they come in on CBSN Minnesota. The Minneapolis election with its public safety amendment is being watched across the country. The election of the mayor and city council once again is by ranked choice voting. Earlier this morning, I spoke with Professor David Schultz, who consulted with the city on ranked choice voting. Take a look. And joining us now, Hamline University professor David Schultz. Welcome and thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure for being on. Thank you, Esme.
All right. We are going to have a ranked choice voting election in Minneapolis and St. Paul and many other communities across Minnesota. It's a growing trend. Last time in the city election, we had two city council members, Steve Fletcher and Philippe Cunningham, who finished second on the first round of voting, and they ended up winning. Is that normal?
Well, we have to think about what we mean by a democracy, and there's kind of competing notions here. But I think almost all of us agree that part of what democracy is majority rules. The question becomes, how do we get to calculating a majority? And this is where ranked choice voting comes in, because supporters of ranked choice voting argue and say that under the normal system that we've been using for many, many years, which is called first past the post, we can elect people to office with just a plurality of the vote without getting a majority. And ranked choice voting is supposed to be a way of ensuring that people who are elected get a majority of the vote, that voters get to have more choice in terms of the types of candidates they pick. And so the reason why I say this is that if you're a supporter of ranked choice voting, it is okay to say that somebody who got a lot of votes but didn't come out first in the first round doesn't necessarily win, but somebody else who overall has the most first choice votes when you total them up does. It sounds a little complicated, but not really at the end of the day, because voters have figured it out. But it really is all about what? Competing notions of what we mean by how to get to majority vote.
I want to ask you about the public safety amendment. There are some Democrats, prominent Democrats that I know that privately are bemoaning the fact that this issue of defunding the police ever surfaced. They say it is absolutely nationwide. It has given Republicans a great talking point. How closely is this being watched across the country, and what's at stake here?
If you think about ever since the murder of George Floyd, Minneapolis has become the center of sort of race and policing in America. And our eyes were on the Derek Chauvin trial. And I think the eyes of America are on what's happening in Minneapolis right now. Because what we're seeing across the country is a spike in crime across many cities in the United States. And Democrats are worried. They are worried about being labeled as the party that's against law and order, the party that's against police. And it's giving the Republican Party a good wedge. And even though I know supporters of Amendment number 2 are saying this is not about defunding police, remember, it was about 18 months ago that 9 city council members said in a park in Minneapolis they wanted to defund police. For better or for worse, that is what this amendment has come to be thought of. And depending on what happens here, we could see either movement or no change or whatever nationally in other cities. But more importantly, this is an issue no matter what for the 2022 elections.
Yeah, interesting that some of those council members have been walking their positions back a little bit. I want to ask you quickly about Mayor Fry and his re-election. It is a competitive election, unlike the election in St. Paul for mayor. An internal poll showed he was 19 points ahead. It's one poll, it's an internal poll. Do you think he's that much ahead?
It's possible he is, because we're looking at opposition that is not united, not well funded, and he has clear name recognition. And given the fact that also perhaps he's kind of embracing a position that says reform but don't abolish the police department, it is possible that he's closer to where the center of most voters are in Minneapolis. The fact that polls are suggesting that the defend the police, or rather the reform the police amendment is so close, is suggesting that there's just not the overwhelming support to do that. And again, he may just be closer to where they are. But having said that, with ranked choice voting and the 2 leading candidates opposing him saying don't rank Fry at all, I would argue, unless Mayor Fry is in the mid-40s after the first round, he may be in danger if it goes into subsequent rounds for ranked choice voting.
All right. Let me ask you quickly about the Supreme Court arguments in the Texas abortion case. Abortion rights supporters and abortion opponents don't agree on much, but they do agree that this Supreme Court term, with decisions on the Texas law and a Mississippi law, are the most important time for Roe v. Wade since it actually was adopted back in the 1970s. Do you agree? What is at stake here?
It's absolutely correct here that we have a majority of the court now in a variety of opinions that has expressed disagreement with Roe v. Wade. And this is probably the closest and most serious challenge to abortion rights we've seen in the United States. You're right, since Roe v. Wade was first adopted. Now, is Roe going to be overturned? Don't know. It could be overturned. It could be narrowed. There's a lot of different possibilities. But certainly, I think both sides are correct that these two cases are the toughest test case. I should also mention in the state of Minnesota.
In 40 years.
In 40 years, there's no question about it. I should also mention the fact that even if Roe is overturned, the impact might not be immediate in Minnesota because the Minnesota Supreme Court has said that under the state constitution, women have a right to terminate pregnancies. And so, it may not affect us the same way in Minnesota as it might affect women or really everybody nationally.
All right. Well, a good point. Thank you so much, Professor David Schultz. We really appreciate your coming on.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.